אנו יוצאים למבצע פגיעה בחמאס על מנת להשיב את השקט לאזרחי ישראל.
Israel launched its ground offensive against Hamas and other militant groups in the Gaza Strip on Thursday evening at about 10 p.m. This came after 10 days of bombardment from the air and from the sea of Hamas rocket launchers, houses of senior Hamas leaders, and other public buildings and houses that Israel said were linked to the militant groups that are firing rockets into Israel. On Friday morning, Israel's Security Cabinet met, and among the topics of discussion were a possible widening of the war. The current ground offensive is just against tunnels in the Gaza buffer zone on Israel's border. There's now a discussion of going even farther into Gaza. Israel called up 18,000 more reserve troops for the operation overnight. As Israel does this, the casualty figures have begun to spike. It's already been a bloodier conflict than Israel's last war with Gaza in November 2012, Operation Pillar of Defense. As of midday on Friday, 263 Palestinians had died, and 2 Israelis had also died of their injuries. There have also been at least 2,000 Palestinians injured. Many of the people killed and injured have been civilians, women and children, and this owes to the highly urbanized environment in which this conflict is being fought. There's a chance that the uptick in violence over the past 24 hours will indeed prod both sides towards a negotiated solution. But if so, there's no immediate sign that they're willing to sit down and talk. I think it's extremely risky for both sides. I think the conflict is going to become more violent before it ends, there's no doubt. I think for Israel, it's extremely risky that they're now physically entering Gaza, putting their soldiers in harm's way, and indeed there's a risk of friendly fire as well, given how densely packed an urban environment they will be fighting in. For Hamas, the risks are obvious. The casualties in this conflict have been overwhelmingly of civilians. Israel accuses Hamas and Islamic Jihad, and indeed it's factual that many of their military operations are cheek by jowl in or under civilian buildings. And under a sustained Israeli military assault, I think a territory that was living on the edge to start with could face a very, very serious humanitarian crisis soon.